Yeah, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. This is Naeem Mushtaq here, and today we are blessed and honored to have Brother Tafazal Mohammed with us, who is a international award-winning relationship coach, and he's from the Leeds, UK. And I requested him to spare some time for myself because I need to learn a lot, and also for my network, for my friends, so that we could know, uh, how to take care of the self care in relationship. And I have seen his some of his video and some of his interviews, and I find them to be very, very exceptionally benefit. So I wanted my audience and for myself to get some benefit from his wisdom, from his experience. So, Brother Tafazul, how are you?
I'm fine, Jazakallah. Assalamu alaikum, Baijan. How are you okay?
Walaikum assalam. I'm okay. The first question, brief one. What is the secret behind your beauty? You always look fresh and
Inshallah.
energetic, and
Thank you for the compliment, Baijan. I think self-care is the key to everything, and I'm hoping that we have that conversation today. But I'd like to say it's an honor to be with you. Actually, you're a doctor. Obviously, you're an academic. You're well read. You've written a lot of on different disciplines, and you have delivered much training and facilitated. So it's something close to my heart as well. So I feel honored to be in the same space as yourself to have this very candid conversation, I hope.
inshallah, we will do that. And where are you at the moment now? In Leeds, in UK?
I'm actually in Leeds, UK. Yes, I was born and bred in UK, yeah,
Okay.
and been here all my life. I did spend a couple of years when I was younger in Pakistan as well. So I have some really fond memories of Pakistan.
Okay, mashallah.
And I hope to, in the next couple of years, given that we have a pandemic, visit Pakistan as well. So inshallah, I hope to see you then in person.
Inshallah, when you come here, we'll have a face-to-face interview as well. And by that time, you will have a lot of fan following, inshallah, in Pakistan also.
Let's hope, yes, inshallah. Inshallah. I hope to serve, whenever I speak about these
Inshallah,
issues,
inshallah. And
the intention is to serve.
inshallah, and we'll continue these Zoom meetings after this topic, and then we will may decide some more topics for the youth, especially because our
Sure.
youth, both in UK and in Pakistan, and especially the Muslim youth,
Mhm.
excuse me, youth in general, belonging to
Mhm.
any religion or
Yes.
society, but
Yes.
specifically youth, our Muslim youth, they need to learn a
Mhm.
lot about the self-care and care of the
Yes.
relationship, especially in a romantic
Mhm.
relationship and in a
Yes.
matrimonial relationship also. So
Mhm.
before we start, just tell us about your brief, introduction background for my audience, people
Sure.
who do not know you.
Yes. Yes. Well, I'm a father of five and a grandfather of four, alhamdulillah.
Wow,
Yeah,
mashallah,
mashallah. So I have lots of young people around me, and I have had that for quite a while now. So my eldest is 30 years old,
mashallah,
mashallah.
mashallah.
And I have worked in this field of youth and community development for 25 years now.
Oh, okay, mashallah.
And my speciality was youth work for many, many years, face to face, working with young people. And it was, across different faiths and cultures. So I have a
Mm,
wide experience in terms of working with young people, generally speaking.
mm,
And, the way I came into coaching, maybe it's apt now to speak about coaching, is that I was divorced a couple of years back. Well, actually, more than a couple of years back, twice.
okay.
And I have experience from those relationships. And it wasn't until my last divorce I realized there was something I needed to do myself
Mm.
to really look at why this has happened
Oh,
and the lessons from that learning, that introspection was
mhm.
very important. And that's one of the things that has led me now to do work with particularly Muslim men
Okay, mashallah.
in terms of improving their well-being, but also building themselves up for having a relationship with another person.
Okay.
And it also is the same for anyone currently who's married and looking to enhance their relationship with their spouse,
Mm.
which is also integral, because sometimes we might get to a point in our relationship that we think it's okay and we become complacent, and we just go through the motions of everyday life, being a husband, being a father, you know, and or a wife even, and we just tend to let that relationship maybe sometimes, you know, work its own way through. But nothing ever works its own way through. It's a daily effort, and I always say we need to be always curious. Every single day we need to have curiosity, and that curiosity leads to many fruitful things.
So coming to our main topic, self-care. What is the step number one if I want to learn about self-care? If I'm coming from a very background of ups and downs and pain and pleasure and everything,
Yes.
if I want to learn this art of self-care, what would be the first step?
You know, that's a really great question. And what I learned from my own experience, and even with the experience of those people I work with. So I work with an international audience now. So it's not just men from the UK, so it's all over the world. And the common denominator in every encounter I've had is the actual denial that self-care is something that I need. So on a psychological level, actually, for some reason, whether it's a cultural thing, whether it's been something that's been ingrained into us as men, you know, whatever culture you are, it seems to be that self-care is selfish.
Yes.
And any self-care is at the expense of denying somebody else something.
Yes.
So the first thing is that actually I have to accept that self-care is something that's needed for me in order for me to feel good about myself and to be almost like the best version of myself, continuously improving my health and my well-being. So the first block I had personally, so I'll give you an example. After my divorce, I had 4 months where, I mean, I was very sad over many, you know, divorce doesn't happen overnight.
Exactly.
It can take years, you know, for a relationship to start dwindling, and you know, you're getting weaker in terms of your encounters with your spouse. And divorce itself is the final, you know, straw, so to speak. You know, you separate.
Exactly.
But I think that the few months that I was very, I'd say, depressed, and in fact, I was sleeping on my eldest son's living room sofa. I didn't have a place to stay, so I was living out of this small sports bag, you know, sleeping there, resting there, going to work from there. Everything was normal to the outside world, you know. I wasn't showing any overt display of emotions as such to anyone.
Yes.
And I always give the analogy of a swan. You know, a swan just glides beautifully on the lake, but underneath it's, you know, it's just flapping its feet really vigorously to move forward. So I was just like that. And after a few months, I realized, look, I need to do something with myself. I thought I can't just keep on, you know, living like this. And a special offer came up to a local gym, gymnasium. And I remember in my younger days, I used to be into the gym, and I'd given that up as well. And this is all to do with self-care, you know, how we sometimes give up some things for ourselves.
Exactly.
So I looked at the price, and the offer was 10 UK pounds, which is probably around about 1 hour's worth of work. So for anyone working in an office, clerical office. And I stopped myself. I said, I can't afford that. And when I stopped myself from purchasing that £10 membership, I had this epiphany, this awakening that I can't even spend £10 on myself for my health, yet I will do everything for everyone else.
Exactly.
And I realized the balance that I had was wrong. My well-being, my self-care, my self-worth was really damaged.
Exactly.
And I had given up that sense of that I should be doing something for myself, and became so hyper-focused on everybody else around me. Not that focusing on people around me is wrong, but if it's at the expense of my sense of well-being, then there's something wrong.
So the first thing, I think, the step one, if I summarize what you just said, is taking care of one's health, because health is the foundation of all the other self-care, you know, steps
Absolutely, absolutely. And every dimension of wellness is interrelated. So, for example, if I look after my health, it might even improve my emotional well-being.
Exactly.
Yeah. If my emotional well-being is down, it might affect my physical health.
Exactly.
Right. And so you have all these different dimensions of wealth. So it could be spiritual health, for example.
Exactly.
So if I don't have a great diet, if I'm not exercising, I'm not feeling great myself, so my mental health isn't great, so it might affect me spiritually. So every dimension in some way can be connected. And so there's a misnomer, misunderstanding that, if I'm really great in this area, everything else will be great. Every dimension needs to be worked on.
Yes, I see sometimes in Muslim community especially, and in Muslim community living in the non-Muslim communities like in UK, Canada, America, and especially Muslim communities like Pakistan, UAE, Saudi Arabia, or Muslim societies, self-care is not taught as a subject in universities, in madrasas, in mosques, in schools. You learn it through by accident.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I learned it in my 50s.
Yeah.
And you think about that, you think, subhanAllah, how can it be that, this man has spent 50 years of his life on this earth and he didn't realize self-care was important?
Exactly. Because
Number one,
sometimes you don't have any option except self-care. Either you die or you try to survive. So in that moment, you realize that self-care is a gift from God. If you don't survive, how can you handle all these challenges and problems and issues?
No, absolutely. There's a quote I always give to my participants, and I say, and it goes like this: it's the tree that denies itself sunshine and water is unable to bear fruits for others.
Exactly.
Right. So either we become the strongest link or the weakest link.
Exactly.
The stronger we are, the more we're able to serve those people around us who we love.
Exactly.
And I see it as that, and I always say, everybody's, well, I assume because I'm in the work of relationships, everybody's talking about love, right?
Exactly.
Everyone's talking about love and romance and all those things. I know you have written about this extensively, but I always say the greatest expression of love is self-care.
Exactly.
You have to believe this, because if I don't love myself, not in the loose sense that doesn't mean anything. I mean, love my sense that I really take care of my mind, my body, and my soul. Right? I'm continuously looking at these different dimensions of who I am as like energy sources. Right? If I build my energy levels, so let's say physically, then I'm able to be stronger, perhaps emotionally as well. Exactly. It's that link again, exactly. Emotionally, I can be very available for my wife, for example, if I'm emotionally intelligent, if I'm emotionally strong. If I'm spiritually strong, then, I can overlook certain things. I can support, certain things for someone's, my spouse's development, spiritual development, and vice versa. If she's working on herself, she can help me when I need that support as well. It's not a one-way thing, So number one is accepting that we need to look after ourselves through self-care. And number two, understand how these different dimensions interrelate. So even occupational wellness.
Yeah, exactly.
When we're looking at the workplace, do I actually feel great about the work that I do? Right? Does it give me some sense of meaning, purpose? Yes, some vocations, help to put the food on the table. That's exactly what it's supposed to do. Exactly. But what about that sense of well-being at work? How about my social wellness? My circle of friends? Do they make me feel good about my emotional being? Am I able to share things I'm concerned about? Do they feel comfortable to speak to me? Do we have a safe space between ourselves? So everything's related, even financial wellness.
Exactly.
Am I able to earn enough to keep myself going? Do I have a budget in place that makes me feel good that I'm in control?
Exactly.
Right. And am I able to support the people I love? So all these things are really important and very interrelated. And it all boils down to the way that I am and the way that I invest in myself.
So the self-care is a concept that changes your entire I would say perception of life. It's a sort of a paradigm shift from
Absolutely.
sacrifice to self-care.
Sacrifice to self-care. Sacrifice, not the expense of, aging before your age.
Exactly. Because sometimes, let me, I would say, let's talk about the relationship, loving relationship, romantic relationship.
Yes.
Whether you are in love with to be your wife, or maybe with your wife, or maybe in a romantic relationship like boyfriend and girlfriend in the Western society. Like our expectations of our rights is very high.
Right.
And we are demanding it all the time. We demand, and the other person is trying to cope up with this kind of challenge.
Yes.
But self-care, I think, is realizing a win-win situation. It is not about expectation, it's also about realization that you do have some certain obligation also towards the other partner.
My wife and I, so my wife is Victoria, of Victoria. We've been married over 3 years now. And she's an American born, mashallah, a revert to Islam about 5 years ago.
Mashallah.
And so it's a new experience for me. So marry somebody outside my culture, from a different continent, a new Muslim. So there are so many different dimensions. But we always say this: we complement each other.
Mashallah.
Just like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that, you are garments for each other, right?
Exactly.
So we support each other in the way that we know we should support each other, not because I feel compelled, but I feel that she's my life partner. That if I support her,
exactly,
she will raise herself up. When she raises herself up, we together raise.
Exactly.
When she supports me and I'm, improving myself, it improves the relationship. So it's always a win-win. And we use this the symbol of infinity. That when you give, you will receive. And if we have that, way of thinking, shifting the paradigm shift, that when I give to my spouse, I will receive, but I can only give to the extent of how much I have developed. Exactly. So self-care is to improve me, but also to improve the relationship. So it always goes forwards and backwards, and we're both working.
Mashallah.
Right? Mashallah. Because let's say if I don't work, and then she gives to me, it's almost like if I have a hole in my cup and she pours tea into it, it's going to come out.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
Yeah, right.
So I have to look after my affairs. But when she pours into my cup, I can hold that. And I have enough in my cup.
Have you written any book on self-care? Because once I'm listening to you now, I feel that these things should be documented in form of a book.
Yes.
These are very valuable, perceptions. Yes. These are very valuable experiences, and these need to be put in form of a course, workshop, and also in a book, so that people can, when they are sitting, in their comfort zone areas, they can go through the books. They can make the book their own life experience as well.
Yes.
So have you written?
Well, actually, I've written a one-day course on this.
Ah, lovely.
And yes, I have. And there's a workbook available as well.
Ah, okay.
And, that wasn't going to be a conversation that we're going to have. But, I literally, a couple of days back, was speaking to my wife about this, and we shared notes on this wellness program.
Oh, lovely.
So it's a full day thing. It's a workbook. So what you do is you look at the dimensions of wellness. You do a rating of where you are. And you have all these different prompts to look at how you can bring wellness into your life.
Yeah, that's very important course. I would love to attend also.
No, absolutely, Rajan. You're going to be the first one invited to this as a special guest, and I hope we can facilitate this at some point in Pakistan, because because we're an international audience, right? This it's just the world is open to us.
Yeah.
But the men that I work with come with a very different array of challenges. And some of those start from, for example, just not feeling great about themselves,
Yeah.
to feeling anxiety, to feeling like they're overwhelmed. So every single day they're going through the motions. They say, look, we're totally exhausted because all we're doing is we're working 24 hours a day. To the other side of the spectrum, to people who have, complex mental health problems.
Yeah.
And so what's happened is this continuum, somewhere along that line, someone, unless it was a pre-existing medical condition, someone somewhere took their eye off the ball.
Yes.
Or there was a circumstance where intervention should have happened.
Exactly.
And that intervention wasn't possible for whatever reason. So my philosophy is this, Baijan, if I'm really honest, my philosophy is this, that every single human being deserves to live a life that they've always deserved, to live a life they've always deserved.
Exactly. And that's the message of the Quran and Islam also, which we don't usually do not understand or preach, because Islam has converted into a product nowadays.
Yes.
But the essence of Islam is to, لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ. We created man in the best form. So that best form needs to be protected through self-care.
MashaAllah, there you go. So there's a perfect link I was looking for, you see.
Okay.
MashaAllah. And this is beautiful, because the thing, this will then crystallize these ideas that might be seemingly modern to something which we believe in. And that becomes the hook or the thing that drives people to now be committed to self-care, because they know we were created in the best mold.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. So, and some of you will, let that go, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So the most important thing is that if we can anchor this into our faith and say, no, actually, it's something that I was given this gift of perfection.
Exactly.
And now it's my responsibility to, if I have a good level, to maintain it. If not, if it's dropped, to do something to get it back.
Exactly. You're right. This idea of of Muslim men, talking to Muslim men, this idea of this term, the Muslim men, you're doing a lot of work to improve the qualities of life of Muslim men, because usually whenever we think of improving the society, we start focusing on the women.
That's right.
But no one talks about the men, and especially the Muslim men. So how did you come about this idea of Muslim men? Because this is very, very special term, and I think this captures the foundational problem that a lot of problems we have in the house, or maybe in the matrimonial life. Sometimes men as Muslim and men as men, they are going through a lot of suffering, but no one talks about them.
No. I think Muslim men and men generally, there's a double whammy. Basically they're against quite a few challenges. So number one, generally speaking, men are usually more tougher on the outside, and they're less expressive about their feelings and their emotions.
Yes, exactly.
Particularly South Asian, being South Asian myself, I know that the environment I was brought up in, I didn't even see as a concept of expression.
Exactly.
I didn't even know that I could be emotionally expressive.
This is usually considered against the manners in Eastern societies.
Yes.
You talk too much, and you say too much.
Yes, exactly. So that conversation is broken down already before you even start.
Yeah.
And so that was one thing that I realized. And by the way, where I live in the UK, in Leeds, Leeds has the highest rate of suicide in the whole of UK.
Oh, okay.
For men.
For men, okay.
Men in the late 40s. So it's very close to home why I chose men, because there doesn't seem to be an outlet for men to express themselves.
Oh, okay.
Now, and so it's really disheartening to know that, let's say, for example, someone 2 streets down from where I am, right, is contemplating suicide.
Wow.
Is so depressed that that's a thought, but not only that he doesn't feel he can speak to someone.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. Secondly, my wife, mashallah, as I say, actually I didn't say, but she's also a certified coach, but she works with women and I work with men.
MashaAllah.
Mashallah, she's in so many groups, revert groups and Muslim groups, but some are just wholly reverts and some are mixed. What she keeps coming up with every single time is that the women are willing to do something about their marriage challenges, marriage problems. So they're always complaining.
Yeah.
And one of the complaints is the man isn't willing to do anything or even accept there's a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
So men are usually more reluctant to seek help, because the minute you accept that I need help, that's when you're saying there's something wrong with me.
Yes.
So that pride and that arrogance will come in to prevent you from, doing the work that you need to do as a man. Now, what can you lose as a man if you say, hands up, I need some help?
Yeah.
Because what's going to happen is if I accept that, then I'm not only going to improve my life, I'm going to improve the life of everybody around me, the people I love.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And there's no pride in this. There's no if I accept that I need help, subhanallah, if you accept that you need help, actually that's going to help you in terms of your spiritual development as well.
Exactly. When Sister Victoria, your wife, when she is going to come to UK, I'm thinking of interviewing you both together. She can talk
actually
about
she's in UK right now.
Oh, okay, lovely. So maybe we can arrange another session with you sitting with her, and then I can ask her about the women, and then you can answer about the men, and this will be more, balanced. I mean, both perspective coming from two different parts.
No, absolutely. That'd be wonderful, because we actually work together really well, even in our professional capacity. So we do couples coaching as well. So sometimes we have a couple, and when you're in it, sometimes you can't see it.
Yeah.
Right. There's too much detail. So it's like someone saying that, the other person saying that, and you have this meaning gets lost in translation. You can't see the wood for the tree. So much detail. So because we do this as a profession, we can pick up on the words that people are using.
Exactly.
And we could pick up on those statements that are either self-sabotaging or defensive, for example, or someone's tried to be vulnerable, the other person's tried to shut them down. So there's so many techniques that we have. But when we do the work with couples, it's so amazing that sometimes it's the small things that people miss, right? That are very, very connective. That can bring back a relationship very quickly in a short space of time. And in fact, I'll give you one. Go ahead.
Sure. This is what I was thinking when you and Sister Victoria sit together. Maybe you can talk about how the couple, as husband and wife, they can assist one another in growing together.
Of course. And what's the benefit of this?
Exactly.
I mean, if you look at this, if we really look at again love, and we look at love is all about being connected to somebody, having a connection.
Exactly.
You feel it here. You feel you can trust this person. You feel this person is loyal to you.
Exactly.
Right. This person really cares about you.
Exactly.
And we had our own barriers because we came from broken marriages ourselves. And one of the things that I remember when my wife asked me before we were even courting, just a normal conversation, she said, "Would you ever get married again?" And I said to her, I said, "No." I said, "My heart's been broken. I don't think I could ever do this again." I can't right now. No, because even you mentioned it gives me pain.
Yeah.
And she said something really profound. And I remember when she said it, something shifted in my mind. And it was amazing. And, it's a thing that led me to open up to her.
Oh, okay.
And this is Ajib, this is how things work out sometimes. It was a small switch. And she said, "I understand you. Be guarded, yet open, just in case the right person comes along."
Yeah, exactly.
She said, "Look, guard yourself. Be open." Yes. And I thought, I asked her, I said, "Can you say that again, please?" Because it's the first time I ever heard something like so profound. It was really profound.
Exactly. Yes.
Because she gave me permission. She said, "Be guarded, which I wanted to be guarded, but yet open in case the right person comes along. I thought, wow, that's an amazing statement. I says, wow, maybe. And I know I realized in hindsight, as I worked with many, many men, when they've had a breakup, and a breakup actually in any relationship, right, is a loss.
Exactly.
Is a loss. And when we have any loss,
yes,
we have to grieve. We go through a grieving period.
Yes.
Just like we lose somebody, you know, they lost their life. Because we've broken up, we've separated, there's been this severance between us and them. And you have all those memories, emotions, and everything tied, all of a sudden is separated. So the body has to go through this emotional, you know, experience.
Exactly.
So when that is happening, there needs to be some way or someone helping and supporting you to go through that phase.
Exactly.
Because because that phase isn't going to be always there unless you don't do anything.
Exactly. Exactly.
And I always say that, you know, with every wound, there's a womb.
Exactly.
With every wound, there's a womb. So be careful of what you give birth to.
Wow, lovely.
Yeah, because what happened is in that womb, you'll be incubating something. You'll be, you know, keeping something. So be careful what you give birth to, because you can give birth to something amazing because you've learned lessons from that wound.
Exactly. Lovely.
Or you've succumbed to everything that's happened. You've gone into a negative spiral of emotions and thinking, and then you give birth to something else.
Yes. Well, that's so lovely, mashallah, mashallah. And I think we need to sit again, and next time maybe we can schedule again the time, and let's focus on the youth when they are in love with one another, not yet married, but when they're in love with one another. What are the responsibilities, or what are the steps they can take for self-care and the care of their loved ones, so that relationship stay healthy and then convert it into a good marriage? Because a lot of people get depressed, and a lot of people deny their self-care in that romance relationship before getting married. And I think even this is a, I would say, a phase where every person goes through before getting marriage. And
absolutely. In fact, I'm currently writing something called the ABCs of courtship.
Oh, lovely. Okay.
The ABCs of courtship, to A and B and C. Right? It's being authentic, having boundaries, and making a conscious choice.
Ah, lovely.
And all three steps have so much detail that you can go through again. And inshallah, it's going to be another thing that I create as a workbook and a course. In fact, I'm writing it right now to get it published in an international.
And I think this courtship concept is not for the people who are unmarried, but also for the people who have gone through difficult phases in their marriages, divorce process, and they want to start a new life.
Absolutely. The thing is that, the process itself is applicable to anybody who's single, whether they've been married before or not.
Okay, lovely.
Because it has all the checks and balances of how to do it in a way that you safeguard yourself.
Exactly.
You protect your heart, and you don't give up, like you said. You don't become someone who's desperate or vulnerable and not looking after themselves. That self-care is compromised. So it's all about you being a very confident individual, and you know exactly what steps to take, that when you finally make a decision, you're sure that right now it's the right decision I'm making.
Lovely. So this ABC reminds me of the quotation you just mentioned: be guarded but be open. I think
that's right, mashallah. Exactly. Yes.
So this will teach you how to guard yourself and at the same time be open.
100%. I love what you just think. I might put that as my opening statement actually in the article. So you've added another couple of sentences.
This also proves that my brain sometimes works a little bit.
No, we have, mashallah, we have really good synergy. And I know you've written about this quite a lot, so it'd be lovely to speak to you again. And obviously, inshallah, if it's if it works out, in
Get
some ways.
sister and get me time. You sit together,
Yes.
and then maybe we can talk about this, courtship and before the marriage. This will be very popular in Pakistan also, because the
Sure.
youth wants to know how to approach how to approach a
Yes.
loving relationship, how to
Yes.
interpret love, because there's a lot of I would say ambiguities, like the difference between love and sex. What are the
Yes.
ethics of love? What are the ethics of marriage
Yes.
and courtship and all
Yes.
these things? So
Yeah,
anyway,
and the difference between dating and courtship,
exactly.
there's there's a lot of this speak about halal dating, and that itself is like an oxymoron. When you look at dating itself,
Yeah, exactly.
there's very little halal about it. But if you look at courting,
Yeah.
courting has different connotations altogether, and I believe it's the understanding that you have around these terms and what you do is very important.
Yeah, I would like to learn the difference between the two, because sometimes
Yes.
courtship ends in the court. You understand what I mean?
Yes, I do actually. Yes,
So
yeah.
in
I'm not
Pakistan,
sure if
there's
that's
nowadays the protection of women and the harassment and all those things. These are very high. People needs to learn how to
yes,
express their genuine love in a more
yes,
genuine and honorable way. So there are
yes,
tips,
yes.
techniques, and tricks behind this science. And thank you very much, Brother Tafazal.
No, you're
We'll
welcome. You're welcome.
end the show here. And
Okay.
what we'll end the show with your promise that you'll get Sister
Yes,
Victoria with you. We'll
I
sit
will. I
together.
will.
We'll plan
Yes,
maybe this discussion,
of course,
or
of
we'll
course.
plan it anyway. We'll discuss what
Sure,
best
sure.
to guide.
Of course. And
And
if anybody wants to, know more about what I do, my wife do, all they need to do is go onto the website T for two,
T for
as in
two. Oh yeah, okay.
yeah,
Lovely.
t42.uk, t42.uk, and they'll find more information about us.
Lovely. What I'll
Inshallah.
do, I'll put the website address in the description of this video in my YouTube channel. So
Fantastic.
people who are watching this, they want to
Sure,
visit the website, they can click on the website, and then
sure,
you can move there.
sure.
Thank you very much, and looking
Lovely
forward
speaking
to
to
see
you.
you again.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'll arrange something with my wife as well.
Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you. Take care.